Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7. Live on hot7025fm.com.
This portion of What's the LGBT is brought to you in part by Rosie's Cleaning Services. Rosie's Cleaning Services is your one-stop shop for all of your housekeeping and janitorial needs. Specializing in commercial, residential, move-in and move-out cleaning, B&B preparation, and more. Rosie's Cleaning Services is ready to tackle any job, big or small. They send 3 technicians per service and bill at a flat hourly rate. With a combined experience of over 20 years, Rosie's Cleaning Services is your only choice for professional, efficient, and superior cleaning services. To learn more, please text or call 702-767-1116 or email contact@rosiescleaninglv.com. This is Norman J. Liverpool IV from What's the LGBT, and you're tuned into Hot 702.5 in FM Sound. Be sure to catch us every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Greetings, and yet again, greetings. You already know who it is, but in case you forgot, I don't mind giving you a slight reminder. It's your best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, your gumco, author, radio show host, baby, all of the things. It is Norman J. Liverpool IV, and after 2 weeks of rest, we are back right here at Hot 702.5, right here in Las Vegas for What's the LGBT. So first, we always got to shout out our amazing sponsors. Now, Miss Ponita is out here on the move. I talk about her every week. Her food is amazing. Listen, she was voted the best choice of 2022 food kitchens. Ponita is where you need to go. From everything from oxtail, smothered chicken, fried pork chops, collard greens, baked mac, seafood gumbo, and she takes custom orders. You need to get a hold of her on Instagram or Facebook at Ponita's Kitchen, or you can reach out to them at 702-480-8558. Now, right now, Miss Ponita needs our help more than ever. All right, y'all? She is up for the Greatest Baker competition. So if you follow her on Facebook, you will be able to click the link on her page, or just simply go to greatestbaker.com/2022/Ponita -more. And if you just can't get all that, just go to greatestbaker.com/2022, search for Ponita Moore, and give her your vote. You can vote up to 1 time per day, and this will really, really help her. This is my girl, y'all. We need to come through. So our second sponsor is Rosie's Cleaning Services. You heard their ad. They're here, located locally in Las Vegas, and ready to tackle on any of your residential or commercial cleaning needs. You can reach them at 702-767-1116 for your free, no obligation, non-judgmental quote. All right? That's 702-767-1116. So before we go and introduce our special guest of today, shout out to Tamaulipas in Mexico, which became the 32nd and final state to pass same-sex marriage. Now, it is legal all over the place. So shout out. That was some amazing news that we learned, and I'm really, really happy to see the progression of that in Mexico. Y'all know I love Mexico, y'all. But listen, I have somebody here for y'all specifically. Okay? I'm going to introduce my guest. Her name is Dominique Von Buxaplenty. Now listen, the bio she gave me didn't do her justice, so I had to go to the website and really get it down, okay? Dominique Von Buxaplenty is a mother, a gifted tarot reader, a witch, an overall manifestation maven, which we're going to tap into a little bit later so we understand exactly what that is. From a young age, she would read books on Wicca, witchcraft, and paganism, and even though she was brought up in a Christian home, she was allowed to express herself, which is amazing. Shout out to those people who allowed her to express herself freely. In high school, she was introduced to tarot, and while she was living in with a devout Christian grandmother, she hid her tarot cards under the bed, and she turned the spines of her Wiccan books inside to the bookshelf so she would keep her research and her studies a secret, all the while building up her confidence in manifestation. It might have been built in secrecy, but the universe was grooming her magic for the world. And I can personally attest, honey, this is someone you want to get to know. In 2013, she stumbled upon a Facebook group for African American witches. It changed her life. Discovering hoodoo opened her eyes to ancestor veneration, which she embraced as her own. It brought enlightenment and complete soul purpose. I don't know about you, but I can identify with having soul purpose. In 2014, she was spiritually called to speak to a well-known voodoo practitioner for a divination. The ancestors advised hoodoo and voodoo would be a very important part of her life, and it has been ever since that day. She has strength, her studies, and various levels of practices. All right? Are you getting this? This is huge. And while she was sleeping on a blow-up bed in her friend's living room, she started building her personal brand, Dominique Von Bucks Aplenty. And I don't know about you, but I want to have Von Bucks Aplenty. Okay? Spirit led her to use social media. She started a coven of sorts on TikTok, gaining more than 35,000 followers across social media, teaching baby witches, mugles, and seasoned witches alike, and it's still growing. And one of her taglines is, she is your favorite witch's favorite witch. So without further ado, please welcome to our virtual stage my guest and my sister, Dominique Von Bucks Aplenty.
Hello, hello, hello.
Listen, was that enough?
That was enough. I swear. I was like, well, maybe he just needs a little blurb, but no, that was perfect.
Excellent. So Dominique, I know I just read a whole lot about you. So tell us what we didn't hear in that bio.
Well, I'm a manifestation coach. I help motherfuckers get the lives that they deserve through the magical and the mundane. My practice is fun. It's engaging. It gets down to business. I don't, what I tell my followers and clients, I'm not here to blow smoke up your coochie.
Okay, I want to give you no smoke in the coochie. No.
I want to give you exactly what you need to excel in the things that you want. So there it is.
So the name Von Bucks Aplenty.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, it took me a minute to kind of click with that. I'm like, she has such a very unique name because, I mean, I'm Norman J. Liverpool IV, and I'm like, who is this Von Bucks Aplenty? How did we get there in terms of your personal branding?
I was hanging out with a friend, and she's like, I'm bored, entertain me. And I said, you know what? I wish I had a last name like Von Bucks Aplenty because then people would think I had money.
Okay.
And this was back in like 2008, 2009. And she's like, that should be your stage name for social media. And I said, you know what? I think I like that. Ever since then, I've been Dominique Von Bucks Aplenty.
Okay, so that's her name, and that's also how you can find her on Instagram, at Von Bucks Aplenty.
At Von Bucks Aplenty.
Now spell it out for the children.
VonBuxAplenty.
I don't know.
Von Bucks Aplenty.
Listen, I don't know about you, but I want to have Von Bucks Aplenty.
Period.
So make sure that you go ahead and that you follow her on Instagram. So Dominique, I know in your bio you talked about growing up in a Christian home and doing all of that. What is your story? Tell us a little bit of background so we understand kind of where you grew up and how you came to be where you are today.
I grew up in Los Angeles, California, Gardena to be specific. Grew up in Gardena. My family is a Baptist Christian family, but we are very open. We're allowed to advance how we see fit within the parameters of good parenting, obviously.
Right.
But I was allowed to be free. You know, we were allowed to be free and develop how we wanted to. My mother was or is a very supportive mom. And I credit her with who I am today. You know, you were saying thank you to the people who let me be free. That's definitely my mother.
Now, coming from a similar background, was that a very unique situation, being that your family was so open and really allowed you to do this? Because I know me, I couldn't even... Like, was that a unique experience for you?
Yes, because I got to figure out who I was early on. I didn't have to deal with a teenage crisis of who I am, you know, who I should be. I was able to figure that out early on. You know, I knew I was alternative. I knew I was an alternative, different Black girl since elementary school.
Mm-hmm. What makes Dominique so different?
I lead with my heart. Everybody that encounters me says that I have some sort of light or energy about me, and I've always been that way. So that's what I feel it is. I'm always leading with my heart.
What would you say is your why? You know, this, especially reading your bio, it's like this is something that called you.
Yes.
So what is your why? Or who is your why?
My first why are my kids, Madison and Monique. They're my twin girls. They're 13. If they're listening, hi, babies. They're my first why. But like you said, it's been something that's been calling to me. I've always been one to give advice or help, or just that intuitive friend who just knew some shit.
Right, right.
So it's always been prevalent in my life, magic or mysticism or being that spiritually sensitive person, always been around.
How did you know? Like, how did you know? Like, what was the first thing that was like, okay, I'm on some next level shit here? Like, how did you, like, what was that like?
When I started reading tarot, and then that was back in high school, got caught up with it, and I switched immediately to playing cards. Didn't even know that was a type of divination until I got older, that I started to read playing cards as a way to, you know, help my friends with whatever their problems were. So, yeah, that was like a major kind of light bulb moment for me, definitely.
So, listen, for those of you who are not following Dominique on social media, shame on you, number one. But there's so much rich content. And one of the things that really stood out to me, you recently had a class. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that class. What is it called, and what was that? What did you teach?
My Bust Open Them Roads class. This is my second class, November 19th, you guys. Go to my TikTok or my Instagram, click on my snip feed, register for the class. I am teaching a ritual that will change the trajectory of your life. Back in December 2018, I created a ritual to essentially bust open my roads that I felt were blocked to me. Mm-hmm. I was living in public housing. I was on the county. I was depressed. I was living my life on a loop. Mm-hmm. And I was seeing everybody kind of pass me by. You know, my sister living her life. She has a family. My brother, you know, doing his own thing. And I was just kind of sitting there. So I created this ritual, and 6 months later, I was on the freeway to Las Vegas with only $46 in my pocket. I left Los Angeles with only $46 in my pocket, y'all.
Now, you know, you hear that, and it's like, how in the hell did she do that? What prompted that move to say, okay, you know what? I got less than $50. I'm hitting the road.
I was done, Norman. I was done with myself. I was tired of living the same day over and over again. I didn't have any prospects. You know, my grandmother and great-grandmother were like, are you trying? Are you trying? You know, I had to show them hundreds and hundreds of resumes that I sent off that went with no answer.
Right.
You know, Los Angeles was not working for me. So I found a different avenue through magic and manifestation, and it really worked. So I decided to work with the client and told her the ritual. She ended up in Dubai. Now she's completely changed professions. She's an energy worker, a healer, and now she's on her way to the UK at a prominent UK acting school because she wants to be on Broadway and work on, you know, big stages in London. So yes, it helped her. It's helped me. I did the first class 2 Saturdays ago. It went amazing to the point to where I was like, you know what, immediately next month, let's start it up. And now I want to share it more so I could change more lives because it's powerful.
You make a very interesting point about wanting to share the gift that you've received. Why is that so important to you? You know, a lot of times people will be like, ooh, I figured this out. I'm going to get where I'm going before I share it.
This is my jam. Helping people has always been my jam. And it took, you know, because I'm always talking to my ancestors and my spirit guides, I was begging, please, can I tell somebody? Because I know how powerful this ritual is. And, you know, it was just like, wait a minute. That's when I wrote the book, Manifestation Magic. And then I wrote my Love Manifestation Guide. You know, I'm like, come on, let me give them something. I need to do something. That's when I started the TikTok and, you know, grew my following. I mostly want to work with Black women. We are at the bottom rung. Even though we dominate education, we dominate entrepreneurship, we are still in the media labeled as worth $3.75. I'm really, really tired of that fucking narrative.
Right.
We are being compared. We're synonymous. Black women are synonymous with struggle. I'm about tired of that narrative as well.
Yeah.
So I want to give whatever I can to elevate us as much as possible.
Right. Why is that so important? Like I'm hearing you, and it's like I'm thinking of my mom, right? I'm thinking of my aunts.
Exactly.
So why is that so important that you act as like this intermediary or this medium between the divine and Black women?
Because Black women are divine, and we've forgotten that because we are so married to struggle. We romanticize struggle. Even when it comes to love, we feel like we have to get cheated on, get cussed out, get done dirty. And in the end, we won the ring. We won the man or the woman. And I really want to divorce us from that. Okay. Let's get away from that. We deserve softness. We deserve love. We deserve success. We deserve light. Yeah. Why can't we have that? Black women, Black femmes, Black femme presenting non-binaries, all of y'all, we deserve more than the shit that people serve us. When you think about your mother, when you think about your aunts, you think about them working their ass off. You think about them clamoring for some type of love and respect. Why can't that be the standard for us?
Right. So we're talking about changing narratives, and no, it's not you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too, but it's not you.
Okay.
So we're talking about changing narratives and all of this thing. So let's just get right into it. You've been very open and vocal about your last relationship.
Yes.
And I think it's important that we talk about this, because as entrepreneurs and as people who are inclined to spiritual nature and spiritual things, I think people feel that we can never be in situations that are bad. or harmful.
Right.
Like, it's like, oh my God. Like, Norman went through that. Like, I remember when I first was really open about, like, my drug use. And people couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. They're like, wow, that Norman did that? So let's talk about that.
We have bad days too. We are so enchanted with social media witches and social media spiritual folks and how they tend to love and light everything.
Right.
And
She got you.
okay, and not tell the real.
Mm-hmm.
And then when bad things happen to people that are just coming into their spiritual journey, then then they end up with spiritual psychosis or, just wanting to throw in the towel on their spiritual practice in general because they think, oh, this bad thing happened to me. It must not work. But that's not the case. We all go through shit. Definitely, especially with the last relationship I was in. I said I wasn't going to mention that bitch.
Okay. But you know what? We're mentioning her only to show the level of growth and the level of intuition that told you it was time to move.
Now, let me speak on that
Yeah.
because it was that in the beginning. I knew in the beginning. That's why now I really teach my clients and my followers to trust your gut, trust your body. Your nervous system is going to tell you who's good for you and who isn't. She made me nervous. I didn't feel right.
So why'd you do it?
Everybody has a sob story.
Yeah.
So I latched onto that because I could fix it. I am a Captain Save-A-Ho. Not anymore. But,
And the reason why I say that is because it almost brings tears to my eyes. Because there's so many times, and I know if for those of you that are listening, if you have heard my story, I spent a majority of my 20s and my entire adulthood literally in either what I considered long-term relationships or being married.
okay.
And so your story specifically speaks to me because I understand the being in love with the idea of love, wanting to just latching onto the person that you're with because you're holding on to this idea that you see this future a certain way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's why your story speaks so much to me. So when did you know? What was the thing that said, God, there, I got to get the hell up out of here?
Oh, my God. It was a situation where she didn't come home, and I was upset, and I just watched all of the lies fall out of her mouth. Nothing was the truth, and I was just like, oh, I'm in trouble. And then it just kind of went downhill from there, like the fighting and the lies and, controlling. I was telling my cousin, it took me the whole summer to step foot in my kitchen because her thing was cooking, and she was very controlling with that. And even when I would make certain things, she wouldn't want it and would voice that. Sometimes she'd eat it, sometimes she wouldn't. And then she'd buy out. And I'm just like, okay. So I kind of gave up on the kitchen, and I let her cook. And then it was an issue that I wasn't cooking. So it was a controlling back and forth thing to where I kind of got like almost like a PTSD. I didn't even want to step foot into my kitchen.
Right.
Like, I didn't even wash my clothes because my washer and dryer is in my kitchen.
Right.
That's how bad it was.
I get it.
I trapped myself in that house the whole summer. I was so down on myself with, putting myself down on why I stayed in the relationship so long. Dealing with, why did she cheat? Why this? Why that? And, I even sent my girls away. Like, for the summer, I called my cousin. I was like, I cannot do this.
Right.
Help me. And that's another thing, y'all. If y'all need help, ask for help. If you have your support system, utilize them. They love you. They will help you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she took my girls for 8 weeks, and I kind of had to heal and do cord cutting and spiritual baths to get my shit back together. Did I cuss her out a few times? Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Because I was upset. I was really upset about how things transpired. I wanted things to be amicable. I wanted things to be done. We were cool, but my body didn't feel good when I spoke to her or when I was around her. So I was like, maybe this isn't what we should be doing. She had my car. I was like, bring back my car. You know, I'll give you your things. We could be done. She destroyed my car to where I had to sell it. She wouldn't give me my keys back, so I had to get it towed back. It was just a whole lot of
unnecessary bullshit.
Just to control the narrative.
Right.
And it sent me over the edge. And I'm glad that I'm getting out of that. Thank God. I had to go on a hiatus. Like, I went on a social media hiatus. You know, I had to kind of shut down. I went dark for well over 30 days.
And I remember that because you're so consistent with your posting, and so, you know, and so I feel like for me, I almost took it personally. Like, it was like, no, it was almost like as if my sister or my cousin or somebody had gone through that, because I felt it.
Yeah. And
so I could just imagine that after that probably reignited some of, I mean, who you are naturally, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. Coming out of that hermit mode completely brought me back to Dominique Von Buxaplenty. I was like, okay, back to summer 2019 when I first got out here, when I hit the ground running, started up my brand, let's get it. And that's when I started the classes. That's when I started posting more. That's when I came out with my story talking about my relationship, you know, because it wasn't all sunshine and roses.
Right.
You know, and that gave me like a second wind. And it's been dope ever since. And I plan on continuing to that upward trajectory for sure.
Yeah, we need it. I'm telling you, we need it. And for those of you who are interested to find someone who you can talk to, get your tarot read,
yes,
hit up Dominique, okay? Again, you can find her on Instagram at Von Buxaplenty. For those of you who are just tuning in, it is What's the LGBT right here on Hot 102.5 FM, and we are talking with Dominique Von Buxaplenty, who is a mom, a manifestation coach, an author, a hat maker, and just an all-around dope individual. So we want to thank you for tuning in with us on today. So Dominique, you said that, you know, your target audience, and I think that that's a scary thing. Okay, so let's just talk about that real quick. Coming up with a target audience is a very scary thing, because you feel, I don't know if your story was like mine, but I felt when I decided who I was talking to, I felt like I was pushing everyone away at first, but then I realized that I wasn't talking to them anyway.
Oh, hello.
And I used the example. So my mom had participated in one of my online challenges, and she was like, Norman, I just don't understand it. This is just this is not for me, essentially. And I said, that's how I know it's working.
Right.
Like, it was, a lot of people were like, well, what do you mean with that? I'm like, well, because that's not who I'm talking to.
Yes.
So when she was able to identify that was not her thing, or that wasn't communicating to her, or it didn't feel right to her, that's how I knew I was on the right path.
Yes.
So talk to us about the Brunch Bitch Society.
Okay. My most favorite thing in the world. Okay, so Brunch Bitch Society is my community of Black women and femmes. I wanted a space where we could just be ourselves, where we didn't have to code switch, where we could talk about business and healing and drinking and tooting that ass up and making money and whatever. I wanted it to be, when I posted the TikTok because it was just a stitch and I did it for fun. It was a stitch where a woman was saying how she liked to do ghetto shit with classy people.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I want a community like that of Black women where we could do ghetto shit with classy people.
Okay.
That TikTok went mega viral overnight. So many women were like, I want to join. I want to join. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to set up a Discord. And we're currently at 374 women. We are now an LLC. We're putting together an event out here in Las Vegas. The women in that group, it's been nothing but love and support and community and networking. Money is made in that group, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a place where the Black female dollar can circulate. There are so many entrepreneurs in that group. Take your pick. What do you need? And if it's not there, then you can go out and find elsewhere. But I want this to be a place where you can circulate your Black female dollar first.
You know, I'll have to be honest. When I first saw that, it felt like it really kind of happened overnight, just kind of as you said, because I remember following you. I remember that TikTok. And then next thing I know, I'm seeing logos and banners. And I'm like, and I was like, oh, I want to be in it. And so...
worked so fast.
No, you definitely created that overnight. And I remember, like, damn. And I think, though, a lot of that, and what year was that? When did you come up with that?
Oh, that was this year.
That was this year.
Yeah,
okay.
that was April of this year.
Oh, wow. And it literally has catapulted in leaps and bounds. So, again, if you're following Dominique on social media, connect with her, get into this brunch bitch society. If you are a Black woman or femme, I'm telling you, the party be going on over there. I'm just like a little spectator in the window looking because it is so fire. What they're doing is so lit. And I think what's really interesting is, as a creative person, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is in the divine and who is divine and in the spirit realm, we have many different gifts, right? And so one of the things that I was it almost shocked me, to be completely transparent a little bit, was your hat company. And I'm just like, okay, so she's doing this, and the child makes hats. And I'm not talking about no boring ass, basic ass hats. Talk to us about the dearly departed hat company.
Oh my gosh, that was a flash in the pan. My first white brim fedora came from my mother on a Christmas, and I was like, oh my God, I love this so much. Then I started looking online and found some decorative ones. The inner brim had some decor on it. I think it said Moonchild on it. I said, I love it. I'm going to buy it.
Okay.
I went to get another set of hats, and the store was completely gone. I said, oh shit. Okay, I want some more hats. I'm going to see how to make these. So I figured it out. My mom bought me all the stuff because she's amazing. Thanks, Mom.
Love you.
And I bought some hats. I think I bought like maybe about 5 or 6 hats just to start off with. And I destroyed 3 of them because, of course, trial and error.
Right.
But that's when I made, the first hat I made was recently deceased. And it had Beetlejuice on the front.
Okay.
And it just went off from there. I started making customs. And then I created a collection, start selling that collection online, got a hair up my butt one day and was like, hey, I'm going to start messaging different stores to see if they'll carry my hats. Dolls Kill answered, and 3 of my collection is currently sold out in Dolls Kill. They'll be restocking really soon.
I just find it so amazing. No, and I think what you're doing is really changing the landscape, and let me tell you why. I've worked with coaches and other business mentors and everything, and the big thing is, find your niche, find the one thing and do that well. And that never sat well with me. One is I felt like I was shamed by entrepreneurs for having a 9-to-5, okay? And I'm just speaking very candidly, and vice versa. I mean, for those of you that know, I'm an author. I own a cleaning company. You know, I have my hand in a bunch of different things. So talk to me how you allow the divine to lead you in these different avenues.
We're all multifaceted. First of all, it never sat well with me to find just one thing and, hammer away at that. Perfect that and then go somewhere else and then go somewhere else. You don't have to do one thing. And I think that's kind of fucking boring, first of all. But I listened to my guides. That was divine. Dearly Departed Hat Co. I just wanted to make some hats. This was a personal thing. And then Spirit always brings me somebody that is going to support me. And I posted my hat online. My friend Joey Dynamite from Facebook, she hit me up and she's like, I want you to make a hat for me. She is part of a freak show company called Freak Show Deluxe. And she nails the 9-inch nails up her nose. So she sent me a picture of a skeleton with the nose, doing the, hammer up the nose. And I did Joey Dynamite, sent it off to her. And it ever since then, I've been selling hats. It's literally divine. Tell you another story. I made a blend called Lemon Scented You. Lemon Scented You is a herb blend, so you can dress your candles, you can put it in your wallet, and it's something to bring you money, favor, opportunities. Something I also made for myself. Posted it on Facebook like, hey, this is what I just made, because of course I want to share it. A woman messaged me and said, my guides came and told me to ask for 2 bottles. I want 2. So Spirit is always sending me somebody that is going to support me in whatever I do. If I ain't getting no support for it, it ain't in my wheelhouse.
How do you know when you're listening to the Spirit guide, or your guides, as you say, versus a distraction? I think that a lot of people might want to know that, like, how do you know when you're actually being led towards or away from something?
It's going to feel good. You're going to feel it in your body. That's why I said, trust your gut. Your gut is going to tell you everything you need to know, whether you need to pivot, whether you need to stay the course, go a different direction, whatever. Pay attention to your body. For real, pay attention to your body, pay attention to your intuition. The more you trust yourself, the stronger your intuition will be. And you ain't gotta ask for outside validation. You don't need to bounce your ideas off anybody else, because you got you.
And I love that, because I think sometimes when we share our information with the wrong people, it's like clipping the wings before you even have taken off. And I have personally witnessed this in my life when I have shared things with people, or like in my house, if someone has an idea, the first thing we do is we turn Alexa off, because I believe that bitch is always listening. Okay,
find it on Amazon.
No, seriously, because there has been so many ideas that like my sister and I would talk about, and in just the privacy of our own home, and then a week or 2 later. So, like, what in the fuck, right? So, I think it's important to silence a lot of that noise.
Yes.
And my thing is, a lot of people didn't even know that I was writing a book.
See?
Until I told people that I was writing a book. And it shocked a lot of people, actually, when I said, the book signing is in 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Because I didn't want to hear anybody. No one, I think I only shared a copy with my mom, and I shared a copy with my sister, I believe. Those are the only 2 people that got a copy prior to the book being released, because I didn't want to hear nothing. And even I was so bold in my book, I called people by name.
I heard the thought of that.
And I remember my mom asking me, it's like, why are you using your ex-husband's name? Because that's his name. And that's a lesson that I learned from that. I'm not going to, no, this is real life shit.
Exactly.
This is stuff that I've gone through, stuff that I have learned, And I didn't want anyone to cloud that or to muddle that or to make me feel that I was on a path that I shouldn't be on.
If there's anything that chaps my ass more, it's when people get to naysaying and down talking other people's dreams. Mm-hmm. And you're right. If you get to talking about your stuff to other folks before it even launched, they will clip your wings. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I have TikToks, at least 6 or 7, saying stop talking to people who have never done anything. Mm-hmm. If you want to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, never talk to somebody that has a 9-to-5. They are only going to seek to keep you exactly where you are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I know that to be true. And I feel that it's this weird energy that happens from both, because I'll be honest, I love being an entrepreneur. I love being a business owner. But I also like my career path. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I like what I do in managing real estate. Like, that is what I do. It's something that I'm good at. And I remember feeling like you couldn't have both. Like, you couldn't do both because it wasn't fair. Like, how dare you call yourself an entrepreneur when you work a 9-to-5? Or even shame from people that at the 9-to-5, like, how can you handle this? I remember one time I had someone it's like, we've seen a lot of your social media posts, and a lot of these posts are during work hours. And I had to say, well, have you heard of Hootsuite? Have you heard that? And I had to literally justify. I showed them, this is how I plan out all of my criteria. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing, or my content, and it was so funny because in that meeting, there was posts being made on my page, right? So obviously I'm not doing it, right? Because I'm in this meeting with you. And I feel that there's just this over sense of having to justify wanting it all.
Yes, because we're told we're not supposed to want it all. It's one and done. It's one or the other. You can't, like you said, you can't be multifaceted. You can't be a business owner and, work a 9-to-5. And that's just not realistic. We have to work 9-to-5s sometimes. We have to do those things. And to be shamed for that, I think, is just jealousy.
And my thing is this: if your business allows you to do that, or you don't have the desire to do a 9-to-5, more power to you. I love that journey, but don't make me feel bad because I want to go to work and then come home and work on my business.
Right. They don't have the gumption to do that. They're gonna go home and binge Netflix. I've studied entrepreneurs for decades, and even the ones who had 9-to-5s at first, they got off of work and got right to their desk at home, mm-hmm. right to their couch, their fold-out table with their laptop or whatever they needed to do to get to where they wanted to be in entrepreneurship.
Yeah. When I first started, I remember I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment that was less than 900 square feet. And I said, Norman, how in the hell are we going to make this work? And so I said, you know what? I live alone. I don't really need a dining room. I got some bar stools. So I literally turned my dining room into my recording studio. I had the foam stuff stapled to the walls, and I attached a microphone like this to my desk. I didn't even know what these lights and stuff. I didn't even know what that was. I had a lamp on the desk, and I bought a ring light, and I really thought that I was doing something, and I was. Because I took that step. Now you come to my studio, I got microphones and all of these things and the lights and all these different gadgets that follow your face, But for me, it was important just to do it, just for me to say that I've done it, to say I'm actively doing that. Yes. And I guess in that regard, that was me listening to my guide. Yes. Or, and I believe that we receive signs from many different things. I have things in my life that are specific signs to me. So when I see them, I know Evelyn, my grandmother, is in the room. Yes. Or I know that she approves of something. And so talk to us a little bit about just recognizing some signs when we're on the right path. What does that feel like?
You're going to get signs and synchronicities. I'm talking numbers, songs. Even when you're watching TV, you're going to be like, damn, I just thought that. Damn, I ask for signs. When you ask for a sign, it's always going to come same day. Same day. Pay attention. You're, like I said, you're going to get the 1111, 333, 555. Google those numbers. I always tell people, if you're seeing those numbers repeatedly, Google them, see what they mean. Mm-hmm. And then, what were you thinking about when you saw those numbers? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What state of emotion, what emotional state were you in? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then that's when you start putting the pieces together. Oh, okay. Well, this is what I need to do.
And I would think the same thing works conversely for understanding when we have to walk away from something.
Yes.
Like and I talk about this a lot because what I have discovered in my from years of living, okay,
stop it,
that not everything is for always. And I think that our parents and society and media, whatever, they train us to think that certain things are for always. You see the man who was married to the woman forever, who worked the job forever, who retired from that job and had the house with the white picket fence and all of those things. But for many people, that is not reality. And I found that we beat ourselves up for not fitting into that. I've been married 3 times, divorced twice. Okay? And guess what? My grandmother was married how many times? And so I say that to say that there's no shame in pivoting.
Oh my
There's
gosh,
no
yes.
shame in starting over. There's no shame in coming to the realization that, you know what? Who I am as a person is now pulling me in this direction. So it would seem like what you're saying about signs, it can be used in any area,
yes.
Whether it be confirmation that you're headed in the right direction, confirmation that you need to pivot, confirmation that, hey, you're headed in the danger zone,
yeah,
right?
Yes, it could go either way. It's not just, you're doing great, it's go the other way, Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's definitely going to tell you where to go, what to do. Pay attention to it.
Y'all, for those of you who I hope y'all not just tuning in, but that's okay because you could be catching us on the replay. For those of you that are just tuning in, we want to thank again our sponsors, Ponita's Kitchen. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook at Ponita's Kitchen. And we are sitting here talking with the one and the only Dominique Von Bucks aplenty. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been saying it all day. I want Von Bucks aplenty. And that's who I have in studio today. And we're talking about manifestation, the power of understanding when you're getting signs, understanding when you are headed in the right direction. So as we begin to wind down, we got about 5 minutes or so. I want you to talk to, I'm going to give you the mic. Okay, this is your show now. I want you to feel inclined to speak to whoever it is that needs to hear what is about to say. You take it.
All right. So, watch my content, you guys. There's a million ways to work with me. On TikTok at Von Bucks Aplenty, Instagram at Von Bucks Aplenty, Facebook Dominique Von Bucks Aplenty. Anything you guys want to do, it's possible. And that sounds really cheesy and cliche, but I am living proof. From living on the county, from living in public housing, in Compton, not living the life that I wanted to, and I was able to change that around within 6 months. It's possible. Y'all, get clear with what you want, because I'm about to give some tips, so write it down. Clarity. Get clear on what you want. When we are manifesting, when we're talking about the things we want, we usually say we want a better job. We want $1 million. But what does that better job look like? What are your coworkers like? What's the morale in that company that you want to be at? Write that shit down. Clarity. And then write it down. Write it down in excruciating details. What do you want your life to look like? And I'm not talking about what you think people want to see you do. What do you want? It is all about you. It is your world. Everybody else they're just living in it. What do you want? And then execute it. With manifestation coaches, life coaches, we tend to forget that little tidbit. Y'all, do the work. Faith without works is dead. If you want the better job, write it out, excruciating details, get clear with what you want, and then go apply for that job. If you want that raise, write out a scenario where it's accepted, and then go for that raise. It will work. I've seen it happen with hundreds of my clients. I've helped thousands of women just change their lives just by giving them these tips. You guys, you can have the things you want in your life. You could be the entrepreneur. You can have the career that you want. You can have the pay that you want. You could have the partner that you want. I wrote a book, you guys, the Love Manifestation Guide. I wrote a book, Manifestation Magic, that lays out everything that I'm talking about right now. Grab the books. A woman even manifested a house within 6 months with my Love Manifestation Guide.
Listen, y'all, go to this child's website, okay? She got manifestation journals. Look, I made a list.
Yes.
She got her manifestation magic ebook, manifestation journals, baby, the candles.
Yes.
All of the things that are designed to really help us tap in and tune in to who we are.
Yes.
And to live the best life.
Yes.
And not live the best life later.
Now. We're acting now.
and to me, there's no other time but now. It has to be now for me. And I know there's many of people that are listening or watching that the time, it has to be now. Because, listen, the only thing that's happening is time is passing.
Passing fast.
Fast as hell. So the time is now for us to achieve the goal, get the job, get the partner, lose the partner, whatever it is. The time is to do it now, because what happens is we prolong this fucking process, and the outcome is the same.
Pause that. Somebody used my manifestation guide to break up with their husband. They used it. They asked me, can I use this manifestation guide to break up with my boyfriend, my husband? I said, you sure can.
Listen, y'all. I feel like me and Dominique Von Buxaplenty could sit here and talk for days and days and days. So what I want you to do, make sure you go to hot702fm.com. Make sure that you're downloading the app, okay? You can get it on Apple Store. You can get it on Google, so that you can set an alarm and never miss another edition of What's the LGBT. So listen, Dominique, thank you so much for being here. You got your Over the Top Living merch. Yes. And listen, I am so excited about these next 2 weeks. Next week is still a little surprise, but the second Saturday in November, I am happy to announce that we have Dr. Carlton going to be on our show live from California, who was just named Out Magazine's 100 and 100. And so we are excited to have him. Make sure you're following Dominique Von Buxaplenty on all social media platforms. And until next week, you already know what it is. Bye.
Bye.